Hey everyone, what's up? My name is Ryan, aka Ali the Llama. And today I want to talk to you about The Witness. Hands down the best puzzle game, and one of the best games in general that I've played. When I got The Witness, I knew almost nothing about it, and that's no accident. The game makers were tight-lipped to make sure most of the game was a surprise to players. I had seen one trailer of the game, and I really liked what I saw. I kind of assumed that it would be an interesting indie game that I spend a few hours with, and then move on. On the contrary, I spent dozens upon dozens of hours on the island of The Witness, trying to seek out every last puzzle and secret the game has to offer. Of all the things the game does right, and does a lot of things right, I want to discuss specifically how the game treats its players, in terms of how the game teaches you and how it rewards you. Before that, let's do a quick summary of what you do in the game. Essentially, you solve puzzles. Lots of puzzles. The goal of each is the same. Get the line from the starting point to the end. They get increasingly more complex, of course, adding in symbols and shapes that change the rules of the puzzle, but that initial rule always stays the same. Completing all the puzzles in a certain section of the map activates a laser which points towards the island's huge mountain. Activate enough lasers and you can explore the mountain and discover what lies inside. The only instruction the game actually tells you is in the first few seconds of the game. Press X, or the equivalent, to begin a puzzle. From there, the game leaves it to you to figure out the rest. After a short tutorial, you're let loose on a surprisingly large world to explore. With no real goal yet, you just walk around and discover whatever puzzles you happen upon first. Or, you can choose whatever ones interest you the most. One of the coolest things about the game is that each new area focuses on a different concept, and whenever a new idea is introduced, they ease you into it to help you figure out how it works. They don't do this by telling you, they do it by showing you. It's up to the player to piece together the mechanics based on whether or not they complete the puzzle correctly. And then once you've got the basics of the new concept down, they amp up the difficulty. If you get stuck, you can simply walk around to some other part of the island and try your hand at something new. The game even shows you early on that walking away from a difficult puzzle is not only okay, but recommended sometimes. One of the first puzzles you see after the tutorial looks super complex, with symbols you haven't seen before. When you inevitably can't figure it out, you walk down the path some more and see a series of puzzles that show you what these symbols mean. With this newfound knowledge, you can go back and solve that previously unsolvable puzzle. This is part of the reason why the game can make you feel like the stupidest and smartest person in the world only moments apart. You'll be solving puzzles left and right and you're feeling great, and one comes up and you're stumped. No matter how many minutes you spend on it, how many different approaches you take, you just can't get it. So, maybe you go somewhere else on the island to try some different puzzles, or you stop playing for the night to clear your head. And then you come back to it and it just clicks, and you solve it, and it's honestly the best feeling in the world. And there are some puzzles where you just have to sit down with them for a while. You know what you have to do, just a matter of finding the right path. You try solution after solution, and finally you figure it out. You feel like a genius every time. And this brings me to my main point. The Witness respects its players in a way I haven't really seen before in this kind of game. The only reward you get for solving a puzzle is another puzzle. Or maybe it's a door that leads to more puzzles. And that's fine. The game doesn't dangle an incentive in front of you to progress. There's no leveling up or power-ups or anything like that. The want to progress, in my opinion, comes from the player. What motivated me to keep playing was the personal satisfaction I got from every completed puzzle. The puzzles are varied, interesting, and force you to approach a simple line puzzle in a million different ways. Some have you looking at clues in the environment, while some mix multiple concepts from all over the island. Every puzzle in the game just feels handcrafted, and extremely well designed. Except for this puzzle. This puzzle sucks. And there's no real story or narrative, at least in the traditional sense. And I don't really care why I'm on this island in the first place. I just have so much fun feeling smart, and being challenged intellectually that each completed puzzle is as rewarding as your typical level up in other games. The best proof I can offer of this is when I complete a puzzle that does nothing to help me progress towards the end game. Some are optional. I still went out of my way to figure them out, and solving them gave me the same level of satisfaction that I got from solving the mandatory puzzles. The game also has a ton of secrets that reward observant players. Once again, the game doesn't tell you anything about how these work or what they mean, or even that they exist. But when you figure them out, they'll blow your mind. What I'm trying to say is that The Witness assumes that you're a smart person, and gives you that respect. And that is incredibly refreshing in an age of wordy tutorials and games being spoiled by footage months before it comes out. That's the reason the company behind the game was extra careful not to show off too much footage. They know that players get the best experience going in blind, finding out all the game's secrets organically, and it really shows. I haven't had this many genuine discoveries in a game in quite some time. I'd actually missed an entire part of the island for the first 30 hours of playtime, and discovering it was an absolute joy. Never before has a puzzle game, or any game, made me want to build real-world diagrams to help me solve in-game puzzles. Never before has my want to look up solutions online been counteracted by the pride I feel when I figured it out on my own. By respecting its players through teaching and rewards, The Witness gives you all the tools to be a super genius, one whose own sense of accomplishment is enough to fuel their desire to tackle the game's over 500 puzzles. And that is it for this video. Thank you for watching. Once again, my name is Ryan, aka Lethal Llama, and I'll see you next time.